Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial for STAMPtember 2024. Today's exclusive is from Hero Arts. This stamp set includes two different die options, one for the sentiments, one for the florals. It's a beautiful 6x8 stamp set and it's called Celebrate Flowers. This is an amazing, beautiful stamp set from Hero Arts. Very excited about this today, and we're going to create a slimline style card. So using a Simon Says Stamp Slimline nested rectangle, the largest size, I am taking the insert out of my MISTI, replacing it with just a flat sticky surface to hold on to my die cut panel, and then I am using the Hero Arts script bold print with some Simon Says Stamp flannel ink. This is a super light ink color. I want it to be a very subtle text background. Now I am going to clean my stamp, not move my paper, and using a piece of acetate, I'm going to cover up what I just stamped. Now you could use anything to cover this up, post-it notes or something to that effect, but what I want is I want it to be seamless. And moving my stamp, I had it butted up in the bottom corner. I'm just moving it down into that other corner, and it's going to give me a beautiful seamless script background. It's not meant to be read. And the great thing about the acetate, I can wipe it clean and reuse it for something else, like a shaker card. Next, I'm going to take the spatter marks from the Celebrate Flowers stamp set and use some charcoal Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink to go ahead and create these wonderful distress marks all over the background. I love these. This is a very, what I kind of call an underrated stamp type of thing. There's two of them on this stamp sheet. So I stamped the first one 3 times. We're going to do a few more with the other one. And what's great about this is that it just kind of gives the look that you spattered this without any of the mess, which is fantastic. So I have lots of these, definitely concentrating them around the perimeter of the card, which is where they will mostly be shown. Okay, now that we have our background prep work done, it is time to work on those beautiful flowers. I am going to take 4 of the images from the stamp set and stamp them with Hero Arts Intensified Black ink on Hammermill 100-pound weight smooth white cardstock. I have been finding that I personally love coloring with alcohol ink markers on the Hammermill. I think the results are beautiful. The markers glide. I can't even talk. They glide across the paper so pretty. So if you have any Hammermill, if you like to glimmer, it is the recommended paper for glimmering. Please give this paper a try for your alcohol ink coloring or other coloring needs and see what you think. I did stamp the one Leafy Vine twice. I felt like that was going to work best for my card. Then I'm going to go in with my Olo markers. I do like using Olo markers for my alcohol ink coloring now, and I do want to make mention, there is a link right here on the screen, I hope, to Olo marker if you're interested in shopping with them. Check out the markers. I absolutely love them. I have mentioned this several times in videos, but what I do is I only buy the brush tip marker and I use the connector rings to put them end to end in shading colors. So I can just kind of flip my marker back and forth to color. It took me a minute to get used to this, but after I did, it takes up so much less room, my markers do, and I absolutely love it. I did decide I had started coloring this with those yellow greens, which you probably saw, and now I'm doing blue greens over the top. I decided I wanted this branch to have more of the aqua tones to it. You will notice this card definitely has a rainbow feel and flair to the design as far as the flowers and leaves go. The green that you're going to get from this design is definitely from the leaves and stems from the flowers. We've got aqua for the leaves we just colored, and then we're going to have some yellows, purples, pinks, and an orangey red. That's kind of the color theme I'm using here. Now, I did end up going over my leaves a little bit, just kind of getting the feel for how I want to color these. What I personally love is these are not so teeny tiny that they are, you know, difficult to color. I don't know if that's exactly what I want, the terminology I want to use, but I do find that the little bit bigger surface area definitely is so easy to color in. I know many of you love the florals. Usually STAMPtember is pretty floral heavy. And so I bet you have been eagerly awaiting some more floral sets. And I hope that you love this one as much as I do. I personally thought this was one of the best of the STAMPtember releases. I know we're only a week or so into STAMPtember. We're not even that far. There's so much good yet to come, but I really loved this one. The other great thing about this set, it is not seasonal specific. It is an any type of season floral set. It has lots of beautiful birthday and celebration greetings. And I love that there are a lot of options. So if you want to do the whole kit and caboodle, you can do the 6x8 stamp set. You can do the dies for the greetings, the dies for the flowers, or you can, you know, pick and choose. Maybe only get the floral dies or only get the word dies, whatever the case may be, or just the stamp set. So really, really versatile. Now I'm going to be using a little of all of it, of course, in my video today. I definitely try to show the versatility of it, as well as combine these pieces with other Hero Arts products. I don't always have tons of the company's the featured company, I want to say. I don't always have tons of their products to use for that collaboration day. I always try to just dip into my craft stash and come up with something that maybe I already have. And the same goes for this. If you have been here for a while, you know my theory with STAMPtember is I try to provide daily inspiration for you guys, but it's not necessary to always pick up the collab if a certain day isn't for you, or you know you have something already that you think would work. Hopefully I just inspire you to create, to stamp, to make. That is the goal for me with STAMPtember, and that is my joy in coming to you guys for these premieres. So I colored in the yellow leaves. That was my little nod to hopefully autumn being here soon. And then I have my bright pinky reds. This is one of my favorite color combos for my little pink flowers. And then I want to work on my orangey red flower. Now I had to really dig deep and think about this because my initial gut feeling was do red. And I thought, well, I'm not really featuring orange anywhere, and I really do want to incorporate some purple. And so I thought, let's try to do an orangey red, kind of a poppy type of design, and see how that works. So I'm laying down my orange red, and then we're going to blend in those lighter shades. You will see me really work this color to get it the way I want it to look, but I have to say I think this was the right call. I love the end result for this flower. These are beautiful. I would guess that this is going to be very popular set for this STAMPtember for sure. But please remember, if you like the design of this, dig into your craft stash, see what floral sets you have, and if you want to imitate it, because everything else I'm using today is not brand new. It is something that has been out for a while. Look at this flower coming to life. Now, I wasn't super happy with the transition, so you'll notice I really saturated my paper, just trying to get it smoothed out a bit. And then I'm going to go back in with my mid-tone, my darkest, my lightest. I really, like I said, I worked on it, but I think it turned out fantastic. And that is one of the beautiful things about alcohol ink markers, is you're not going to pill the paper when you go back over it. I would caution to kind of let it dry, because when it does get too saturated, that is when it tends to bleed. But you guys, something else I found out about this Hammermill cardstock, I am finding that I don't think my markers are bleeding as much. I am thrilled. Not that I have a ton of trouble with bleeding, but I just kind of noticed that I was I'm having great luck with this paper. Now, the other products, let's talk about that a little bit while I finish coloring my flowers, that we're going to use today are one of my favorites. You've probably seen me use these dies, these lettered fancy dies from Hero Arts in many other cards. That is because they are one of my favorite products, and that is the letter fancy dies. And I only needed actually 2, although I highly recommend the whole set so you can spell whatever you want for my card today. Now, you guys may or may not know this, but the founder of Simon Says Stamp, Heidi, it is her birthday month. Her birthday was the 3rd of September, so everyone wish Heidi a belated happy birthday if you didn't wish her happy birthday on the 3rd. But I had this idea to make a custom card. Now, obviously, my cards for Stamptember are mailed in to Simon Says Stamp. And so I mailed this in for her, but you could make a card literally with anyone's name that you want. Now, you probably are limited if somebody's name is super long. How you want to do that. If you want to do a 5x7, you might be able to kind of break it up and do something fun there, or you could spell out different words like happy and then stamp the word birthday. But it is a fun idea to customize the card. You could even simply take the first initial of the recipient's name and do kind of a monogram with some florals around it and place that on an A2 sized card. Hopefully this is getting your creative juices going and starts making you think of other things you can do with this kind of idea for a card. I really am been big into customizing lately. I did a video with some Spellbinders products recently in a live where we customized a initial on a standard A2 size card with some dies. Some Spellbinders dies, but you could do something very similar with these Hero Arts dies. And these are 2 of my favorite large, good size dies for monograms and for spelling out some fun things. I am using the coordinating dies to die cut all of these florals. The dies do cut nice and close. Look at that. The detail is phenomenal. I really appreciate and love that. I know I mentioned that a lot, but I like when the dies don't leave a super wide margin. And then we're just going to simply run it through again to cut that other branch, that leafy branch. Okay, so off camera, I did die cut the letters that we're going to use to spell out Heidi's name. And I die cut these from some Simon Says Stamp slate cardstock. It is a beautiful dark gray cardstock and I like it. I didn't really want to go full on like black, but I still want the name to be very visible. So you're going to see me playing with the die cut letters and florals. I want to have a very good idea of how it's going to go together before I commit to, you know, full on gluing it all down. And I'm glad I did because I discovered a couple of things. So one thing is, as much as I love the slate cardstock, this is something I have done since my scrapbooking days. When I have a title and when I have a sentiment like this, a die cut word, let's leave it at that. I like a little shadow, don't you guys? I think a little shadow makes all the difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to die cut all of the letters again from black cardstock. Remember how I said I didn't want to use black cardstock, but we are going to then glue the slate gray to the black. And you might be thinking, oh, that's just one extra step. I promise it does make such a big difference. I'm slightly offsetting it, and then you can see that I'm going back and tucking my letter into the floral, and I'll use some foam adhesive to start with to kind of hold those together until I know exactly how much foam I'm going to need or adhesive I'm going to need. So look at the difference between the letter I and the rest of the letters. That little bit of offset, that little bit of black shadow makes the letter pop. We are going to do that for all of the letters. You're going to see me offset it. I kind of have it offset to the right in this case. We're going to tuck the floral around it, add our adhesive, and then we're going to lay it on the card before we commit to gluing it down. And that's because there's a ton of overlap. There is a ton of overlap of the florals in this case, and I really want to be conscious and aware of that. I want the name to be visible, but I also want those florals to take center stage. So let's just add, oops, and try not to make a huge gluey mess, or do, you know, when I craft, it's almost always a glue mess, unfortunately. And we're going to add that. Now you'll notice that when we get to between the H and the E, I doubled up the florals, and I did that consciously. We're going to add a couple other things to this, plus a stamped and die cut sentiment that we can layer over the top. I kind of thought it looked fun like this. You can definitely kind of keep a floral per letter. I could have divvied those up or even added an extra one, but I kind of liked the, you know, difference of each of the other letters feature of one floral or one leafy branch, and this one is going to have two. I just kind of liked it, and they overlap those two letters, so I think it works really nicely. But you could definitely, you know, divide them and do one more at the beginning of the letter H if you wanted to. You'll notice that I make that effort to kind of tuck it in place before I add it to the card, because I think it's a little bit easier to manipulate now rather than place the letter down and then try to lift it up and tuck everything the way it goes. So that is kind of my other thought process here. Now, you could trim off anything that hangs off the card. There is going to be some of the florals will hang a little bit off of the card design, not a ton. And please keep in mind that the Slimline nested rectangle is slightly smaller than a Slimline style card, so it won't stick up that much. This card even will probably still fit in a standard Slimline envelope, but you could always put it into a larger padded envelope for mailing or hand deliver. Mine got delivered via a priority mail envelope, but you can really do anything that is probably a little bit cheaper for shipping. I would use a padded envelope and have done that many times if I don't want to trim that excess off of a card to place in the envelope that works with that size. Okay, we are going to start adding in our letters, removing that foam adhesive. And it's just coming to life, you guys. It is literally blooming to life, I guess, if you will. I am loving it. Now, I did notice that little stem. I don't want to keep that. Let's trim that off. And I'm staggering them. There is room to line them up perfectly, but I'm kind of one of those girls that, for the most part, likes my sentiments a little staggered, a little non-perfect. And I am always keeping in mind, you can even see that I have my stamp greeting there laying on my desk. What am I going to use? Where am I going to place my sentiment? I don't want it to be like a last minute thought. We're going to layer it over the letters a little bit. Initially, my thought was maybe just to place it in between that first I and the D, kind of along the bottom. And that is what I did to begin with, but I really didn't like it. It did not feel natural or good to me. So you'll notice I'll have to make a few adjustments in a minute, but that's not a big deal. Now I can go in and I can add extra foam where needed to make sure everything is laying nice and flush. Okay, let's stamp our greeting. Actually, first, let's take some rainbow splash gems and decorate our letters. I wanted to kind of match up these gem colors with the colors of the flowers. I thought they would be a fun kind of non-traditional little touch and a little fun embellishment that we could add to our card. So you'll notice that whatever color flower is next to that letter, that is the color of gem that I am choosing to use. Some are up at the top, some are down at the bottom, some are at both places, and some are going to get moved, which it did not come back up, I do want to say, with the adhesive, so I will have to glue those gems down with my glue press, but that's okay. So if you ever have to move something and the adhesive, stays put on your card like it does here, don't be afraid to just take a little glue and secure it to your card. Okay, we are stamping and embossing this sentiment on some black cardstock. This again is a great opportunity to use some black cardstock to have a nice bold black greeting. I think that will stand out really nicely against all of the beautiful color on this card. I'm prepping my cardstock first with a powder tool, and then I am stamping with some clear ink and heat embossing with white embossing powder. And this is very much the style of Hero Art's greetings in a lot of their sets. I die cut it with the coordinating die, and you can see that my original thought was to place it down here on the bottom. I even went so far as to put foam adhesive on it and start to put it down, and I rolled it up and off. Let's go ahead and glue our base to a Slimline card base from Simon Says Stamp. You can see those florals sticking up just a little bit, but it looks so pretty. And I am going to layer this right over the letter. So I'm going to pick off my gems. That's where I was talking about how I picked that off. And then I want to be very careful where I place my foam adhesive. I want my foam to be just under the parts of the greeting that aren't already popped up with foam. So if it's overlapping a letter, we don't need foam there. I'm just going to do glue. So let's go ahead and put glue over the rest of this. I have one foam square on the card, and then that other one at the end where it overlaps in the center of the letter D. Oh my goodness, I love that. So I'm just going to kind of manipulate that just a little bit. I think that looks so good. Oh, I love how it turns out. And now I'm going to take my glue press and replace those gems that I picked off. We're just going to use them. No sense in letting them go to waste, and I can simply add those. There's just going to kind of be peeking out amongst those flowers, and I think that'll be perfect. Add a little glue anywhere that I see that I maybe missed and maybe need it, and there is our finished card. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Hero Arts collaboration for Simon Says Stamp STAMPtember 2024. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new video. Thanks for watching!